Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome to another video brought to you by Total Control Traders. All right, let's get right into it. First one, SPX, SPY market. Dip has been bought. So as mentioned in last week's video, yesterday's video, we were looking at this trend line alongside this GP as a target. Because the dip came down so fast, essentially we did get to the GP, did not touch the trend line because it dipped too fast. If it was 1, 2, 3 more days, worst case scenario, 3 more days, would still be in that area, and that would be a buy zone. But because yesterday we did get to the GP and there was a lower wick, it was a clear dip buying signal, and as mentioned in yesterday's video, would anticipate a bounce. So the bounce has begun and the bounce has been really decent. Today, from the open, was a 2% or 1.5% bounce on SPX, which is not even the highest. I believe Russell was 3%, and we will take a quick look at that. I'm going to try to keep today's video relatively short, or been trying to keep the videos shorter, but tends to end up being quite long. Anyways, let's try to summarize and condense the video content for you guys. All right, so dip has been bought. Right now we're in the GP. Do not want to see a rejection. The bulls do not want to see a rejection. 4 hours does need a higher low. So right now, as of the after hours, we are forming a hourly bull flag on SPX right now, right under the GP, right on the GP. So let's see what the next 3 or 4 hours should show us whether there's going to be a bull break or a bear break. Remember, 4 hours does need a higher low, so it's okay if you are swinging. Hopefully you're not swinging too heavy. Swing should not make or break your day. The swings should, especially in this kind of environment, the day after consolidation, day after 3 days of consolidation, your swing sizing should be accordingly, where it doesn't make or break your day right at the open next day. So with that being said, I did take profit on TNA today, and let's take a look at Russell. Russell's bounce was amazing today. 3% bounce at the high point. Took profit at about just under this trend line, so it was right about 3%. This inner trend line from the inner wedge, inner lower trend line, we can see a little bit of a stall here. Russell is not at the GP yet, just because of the consolidation. It was earlier than the rest of the market. It was longer and larger than the rest of the market. GP has not been reached, but we are seeing across the board daily 8 been touched and wicking off from it. After hours right now, it is bullish still, and it is an extremely bullish bull flag as of right now. 4 hours on Russell doesn't necessarily need a higher low yet, because we did set one right at the open, and it has been amazing up running. Doji candle or a spinning top candle, a little bit of indecision right now, right at the bottom of the trend line. So next, same idea, next 3-4 hours should tell us, overnight at least, should tell us which direction it's going to go. Now keep in mind that the market can very well turn around again, but we are seeing a dip buying that bulls have been used to. One thing that bulls should be aware, market trend, the 4 hours, the 8 hours have changed. Daily has not changed. Daily, if you look at this, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. So daily trend has not been changed, but 8 hours, lower low here, higher high, and then now another lower low. So that is very notable. Whereas, the last time, okay, same idea, dip buying. So we're going to have to see dip buying. There is, based on today's dip buying, based on today's recovery, I would anticipate higher prices to come, but making sure that playing this a little bit more conservatively, not going all in. It's not the all in type of environment, especially knowing how far the market has ran for over the last little bit of period of time. Since the last decent dip in May, it has been 2 months of basically straight bull. And let's take a look at NAS. So NAS, same thing, wicked over the daily 8, but still trading under it. As of after hours right now, we are trading above it just ever so slightly. Let's see, yeah, just ever so slightly. GP near touch of the GP, very close, and rejection. 4 hours, same as SPX, it is a spinning top candle, potentially top spinning candlestick. Indecision, already both leg, same idea. Dow, rejection from GP, slight rejection, exact same as the rest of the market, already both leg. All right, now let's take a look at the other indicators, get a sense of where the market, whether it's going to be a complete V-shaped recovery or if it's going to have further dips. So first thing we look at, always US dollars. Now we trade in US, it does affect our portfolio. So with US dollars, continue bullish action, bull flag, bull break, bull flag, bull break, slightly lost at the 88, and then bull break again. So as of right now, RSI is cooling down. There are some daily bearish divergence, seems to keep on getting negated though. So US dollar remains strong bull, meaning market forecast should be a little bit more bearish. Now same with US 10 years yield. We have lost that long-term key trend line. Last time we lost it, wicked under it, immediately bought up, rejected from this upper trend line, I guess the middle trend line, and we completely lost that key trend line now. So this also, red flag number 2, leads me to think that, you know, over the next month or two, market could potentially be more bearish. And red flag number 3, Bitcoin is losing 30,000. We are closing, I think it's the lowest close ever. Yeah, as of yesterday was the lowest close ever. Today we are trending down lower, wedge, bear break, and potential increasing bear volume. High potential of losing this GP, this must hold zone. 28,600 is the must hold. Ideally, if you're not stopped out under that 30,000 already, 28,600 just under there should be your stop. So we can see a support from back here as well, 28,800. Not too far off. And there's a rejection here, 28,300. Somewhere around that 28.3 to the 28.8 is strong key support resistance previously. If 28.3 is lost, there will be further downside looking at 20,000. All right, so that's red flag number, what is it, 3? 3. Gold, is it rising? Gold is in a potential wedge now, actually. So we did bounce from the GP. Bounce is not that strong. So let's clean this chart up a little bit. Been a while since we looked at it. And as I'm cleaning up the charts, part of the reason why I don't have all these ready is so that you can see what I do personally, in case that you do, I mean, obviously you're watching the videos for a reason. So just in case that you do like what I do with my charts, you know exactly what to do as I'm going through it. So for example, you know, I just ticked off the used to use the levels, easier for you guys to see, but now it's very, by this time you guys should know what these levels are. This is 0.382, the GP, and right in the middle right here is going to be the 0.5, just to show you guys. Okay, didn't come up. Right in the middle there, 0.5. All right, so we are rejecting from the 0.5, meaning this would lead me to think further downside on gold, which is contradicting the other red flags. So, okay, 3 minus 1, 2. I guess could be the potential choppy market ahead. Based on those indicators, would anticipate choppy market ahead. So if we were to make the other thing to make a note of is if And when and if if the market goes to make a new high, if the SPX SPY makes a new high, we will be looking at a strong bearish divergence on the daily. Would anticipate another leg down. Okay, let's get to the hot tickers. First one, Tesla continuation. My goodness, what did I sell yesterday? Market was actually doing really good. Tesla was weak at the beginning of the day today. Was it 7:30? Yeah, 7:30, weak, and then sort of started grinding up along that 15-minute 8. So this was a signal. Where was the signal? Oh, right here. Somewhere around here. I was thinking of an entry because potential of making new highs, but it got rejected and I sort of stopped looking. So with Tesla, it did close with increasing bull volume near the high of day, closing over the daily 8. So essentially, this is a key support down here, but essentially, where is the triangle? What you could be looking at, and we're near that apex now, if this is the triangle that we're looking at, right here. This could very well be the wedge that we're looking at. Let me clean it up. This wedge right here. So you can see we've had one didn't touch. Nope. Oh, essentially it's right here. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touches, 8 touches on the bottom, the lower trend line. 1 broke over, fake out. 2, 3, multiple touches here on the upper trend line. So keeping a close eye on this. If it does break the wedge with increasing volume, we'll be going in likely heavy. But as of right now, it doesn't give me confidence. It is decreasing bull volume on Tesla. We did hold that key trend line, but there is a potential, especially with earnings coming up, that 1, 2, 3, 4, what is it, 26? So it's next Monday. 1, 2, 3. I gotta check if it's pre-market or after hours, but it's either 3 or 4 more trading days. We could do the same thing, overshoot, and the earnings sort of just shoot it down, back down below, making a new low. If you're in bull position right now, okay, so there's been some notable bounces around this area. More so around this area, I guess. The 424? 420 is a must hold. If that is lost, we will be looking down at GP at 600s. Following that is 550. So not too worried about not being in bull position right now. Even if we were to make a new high, there's potential for a daily bear divergence. The move is decreasing bull volume. So keep an eye on it. If we do break on volume, break this wedge on volume, we could be looking at new all-time highs, meaning past 900. Next is Apple. Apple, crazy bull volume today. Congrats, Apple bulls. So yesterday was Space and NVIDIA. They were the balance plays yesterday. Today was, what were they? Big techs? Nope. No, it was Apple alongside reopening stocks, and we will go over some reopening stocks. They were basically full bull mode today. Yeah, Apple, of the big techs, Apple was the strongest. And sorry, I lost my notes here. Okay, so yeah, Apple was the strongest, and part of the reason why we sold the Apple puts yesterday was because one thing always to remember, gaps always get filled. So we filled the gap today. Yesterday was a gap down, selling off, and we filled the gap, opening, gapping up, and straight buying. So this is what I mean by your swing position shouldn't determine your next day's profit or loss right at open. If you look at this, even if you 11:30. Oh yeah, even if you sold right at open, that was a loss already, and you would have had like decent sizing in kind of thing. Looking at this gap down, selling off. One indication that you shouldn't have swung so heavily was right at the end of day closing yesterday, 1:30, 3:30, wherever time frame, whatever time zone you're in at, in the last 30 minutes of the market was strong bullish action, volume as well. Majority of the big techs, Amazon, Apple. So that should have negated you from swinging heavy bearish. Interestingly, Apple did close under the 30-minute 8 right at the end. The last 30 minutes of the last 30 minutes of the market looks like the opposite of yesterday. Big bear volume came in, closing under the 30-minute 8. Yesterday, big bull volume came in, closing over the 30-minute 8. So potentially expect a gap down tomorrow, even though it's really strong today. Next is Amazon. I don't think there's too much happening in Amazon. We did hold the GP. We did back test this previous high trend line. Bounce is not strong yet. We have not touched the 88. Decreasing bull volume. I would anticipate, like I said, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And if this is the case, I would anticipate an A, B, C. So if that is what I'm looking at or anticipating, would anticipate maybe the 0.5, 0.382, 0.5 kind of thing before a next leg down. Ideally, we don't drop that much. Somewhere around here. Is there no lighter? Okay. I'll do that later. All right, so that's Amazon. What's another one? Moderna, we'll cover Moderna later. Microsoft, slight bounce, rejecting, wicking from that upper trend line. Nothing has changed. Ideal entry still remains here. GP lining up with the lower trend line of the long-term channel. Okay, easy levels to play off of, and it is a big tech, easy, slow mover. Should respect these long-term trend lines relatively strong. Okay, next is NVIDIA. NVIDIA, similar to Space today, was bounce yesterday and sell off today. So 7:30 sold off and then sort of went sideways before the end of day, bouncing up a little bit and then rejecting from the trend line. What is that trend line? Nothing really significant. We do see beginning of the trend line, slight rejection from here, another one right here before the breakout, and now we're potentially seeing a rejection. So NVIDIA, no, nothing special. It is split today. Remember, we did say that yesterday, part of the big bull volume, the big bull price action, could be due to people wanting to get in before the split, thinking that, they own more shares, more worthy shares. But no, yeah, that's not the case. So we do see some selling pressure today. Let's see if there's continued selling pressure going into the next 2 days, into the end of the week. Next is DOCU. Can't believe I stopped looking at this chart. So we looked at this chart similar to NVIDIA all the way back here. We are seeing a bull break, closing at new all-time high close. Increasing bull volume. This was the signal. So it was a pot. I don't know. I think it might be due to the earnings. 58%, 66, 63. Okay. So this positive earning gap down. Positive earnings sell off. Positive earnings sell off. That's interesting. So what makes this positive earning gap up and continue running. Might have been news. Let me know if you know what exactly went on with DocuSign. Seems like the previous 3 earnings before the most recent one was all positive, but then sell off. Aside from this one, it was positive, gap up, and continue running. So regardless, we are at new all-time high. Slight daily bearish divergence, slight upper wick. Let's see what the targets look like. Have we reached it? Are we going to reject? So most. Oh. What's the most recent? The chart doesn't even. Yeah, the chart doesn't even really make sense to have this type of run. There's no, aside from back here, lower low, higher high, higher low, it's kind of hard to find a lower low, higher high, higher low that's right before the run. But instead you get a lower low, higher high, and then another lower low. Volume is not really crazy either. Yeah, if anything, I think I might just trade it. If I were to trade this particular ticker, I would probably trade it just as a momentum play. We did reject from a previous all-time high, bounce from previous double rejections, making a new all-time high. Volume doesn't convince me as much. One of the, technically long-term wise, the target is looking at 410 using the lower low back here, higher higher, and the higher low. But short-term wise, can't find anything. There's nothing to draw off of. So because that being the case, I wouldn't exactly trust this move. Potential could be like this, meaning we have already reached the 1.272 target, and I would, because it's hard to draw aside from this one, I would anticipate this being the temporary top. And if it is, even this doesn't really line up with anything. There's just a lot of supports and resistance, but there's not a whole lot of zones. Probably somewhere there. Oh, by the way, if you are trading off of support and resistance, I strongly recommend giving trend lines and key zones a try. Because if you look at, if you're purely trading support and resistance, I can be drawing like I had before here. This one's a resistance. This one's a clear resistance right here. And then there's another one. Yep, clear resistance here. And multiple over here. So what happens to your chart then is it becomes like this. Multiple lines everywhere. Well, no kidding. If the chart breaks under, let's say the chart breaks under this line, obviously it's going to come to this line, and then it might bounce up to this line, but it might also fail. But if you look closely, if you're trading strictly off of support and resistance, look how many wicks over there are. You would have been faked out here, faked out here, faked out here again. And then this one, if you were in bull position, it would have been faked out here again, and then would have lost out on the top here, kind of thing. So there's a bunch of a bunch of fish that would have got you if you were trading strictly off of support and resistance. Try using a key zone where you find multiple supports and rejections from that zone, within that zone. And why is there so many lines still? And see if there's anything in confluence using trend lines. So right now, what I'm seeing is this 0.382. If this is the temporary top, the 0.382 would make sense because there has been one. Okay, no, I don't like this line either. .5 actually makes more sense. Okay, yeah, 0.5 actually makes more sense. Lines up with 1, 2, 3. Slight rejection here. 4.5, 5. 5 rejections right around that 245 mark, and also lines up with the upper trend line. So if you're looking at DOCU and you start seeing bearish action come in, then I would anticipate is right here. If there is no bearish action and it's continuation, just write it, let it mature. There is no significant red flags right now yet. The 88 is your guide. We did lose it once, but we did bounce, revisit this previous high zone before the next leg up. And there is no significant daily bear divergence yet. So nothing of concern. Next is Disney. Disney not looking so good. You know, it's a huge bearish engulfing candlestick followed by a gap down sell off, increasing bear volume. Today's volume, bull volume is not that great. It's basically just a bounce. The way I'm looking at this would be just a bounce. Why is there so many lines? This one, yep, don't need that one. Okay, yeah, so today is just a bounce. Nothing significant. Earnings is coming up on August 12th. Less than a month, three weeks. And the next is requested tickers. First one being Snow. Oh wow, essentially we held this GP all the way, hey? We did come down near it again over here. Shot it up. Rejected from the key zone. And came back down to revisit this trend line. This line doesn't make sense. Yeah, revisit this trend line, which we have seeing multiple rejections back here, another two, breakout, fake out, GP. Hey, breakout, fake out, GP again. But there's no actual move that came. So this move, it's looking like it's primed for a next leg move up. We did lose that GP though. Volume decreasing, bull volume. Would not be rushing into this yet. From the low we did run 48%, nothing significant. Let's see if we reach that target. Target is way up here. So right now it's in the middle of the zone. No trade zone. Mid of the zone, no man's land. Don't be trading around here. You know, ideally you want to be either coming back down here to this key zone, whether it's the upper key zone or the lower key zone for an entry. We gotta see, because it's a decreasing bull volume, there is a potential that we're gonna set up a lower high before another lower low. if we are gonna be seeing a lower low, I would anticipate something along the lines of the bottom of the key zone, potentially lower, because if we were to draw a fib from this for this whole run, we could be looking at the GP, but the bottom of the key zone would line up close to that 0.5. So if we start seeing following that, if we start seeing bullish action come in, I would anticipate the next move to be a really strong bullish move. So right now, Snow, not too ideal. Next is GDMP. So interesting GDMP. We looked at it yesterday. Just want to do a quick recap. You know, $1 is the clear support here, with 96 being a wick under. So if you're playing off, again, if you're playing off strictly off of support and resistance, you would have been fished right here. But with the 3 times multiple, actually there's 2 more here, 4 times of $1 support, and we're nearing the apex of the wedge, would anticipate a break bullish. This is a low risk, easy play kind of thing. Easy stop right under, I would personally put it under the 96, just because, you know, that way you might get fished one last time. What they might do here is just dip it down right under $1, get all those stops, and then run it up. So GDMP looking good, took a position today. Next is Air Canada. Congrats, Air Canada bulls. We took position yesterday, big positions, and part of the reason, 2 reasons. Let's take a look at this. All right, so Air Canada 1-to-1 extension target reached from this higher high, higher low. Yeah, higher high, higher low, lower high. 1-to-1 extension target at 23.35. Not to mention the long-term channel. We broke slightly bear from it. So even if we did continue to break bearish, such as this time, there is not a whole lot that's gonna keep on dipping. When I was looking at it yesterday, I believe, yeah, look at this, 15 minutes on Air Canada. RSI is in single digits. RSI at the low point was at 6. So our last entry, the biggest entry was around 20, the low 23s, because I was anticipating 23 even to be holding the psychological support. So it was the low 23s, and very fortunate that we did get a fill around there. And from there, today was a high of 8% return, if I remember correctly. Let's take a look. 8.5% return. We did close over the 88. It is a chart that I'm very comfortable swinging bullish going into, especially tomorrow. You know, I believe tomorrow is the border reopening. We did see a wick from this previous support resistance. So there's a zone within this big zone. You know, we had this big zone drawn out ever since the Air Canada being in the $15 kind of thing, and we seeing rejection, breakout, fake out, coming back down. This big zone, once this breaks, excuse me, looks like I held that. Once this big zone breaks, I will be looking up here around the $40. So we have been seeing stall around this area, and this is the Ethereum shorter term zone, which we are seeing a slight rejection off of. But based on today's volume, earnings is coming up and reopening tomorrow. I would anticipate further follow through. Let's take a look. Make sure to watch it tomorrow. Next is SCORE. Did not quite reach the ideal entry, the most ideal entry that I was looking for. So most ideal entry, I did say that it's going to go down to 17, but I was looking at specifically at about 1720 some, right at this trend line. And I did draw that properly. Yeah. Yeah, so I was looking at, you know, trend line from back here, So 2 bounces so far. Upper trend line has been 1, 2, 3, 4 rejections so far. I was looking at a touch of this trend line, 1720-ish, 1730. I'll enter, but we only dipped down to 1753, and we are now seeing a slight reversal. Morning star candlestick. No exact bull volume yet, so there is still a chance that we're going to come down to that trend line still around 1730s. Be patient. Today was a 3.73. I do see potential opportunity coming up with SCOR if we do get to that lower trend line. So let's say we do get to the lower trend line in 3 days kind of thing, so we're buying a little bit higher around 1740. You know, you come up to the upper trend line. Let's say we take a little bit longer. The upper key zone lining up with the trend line, that's still a 68-70% run. Very decent, so keep an eye on SCOR. Want to watch for that lower trend line touch for an entry. But so remember, if there is a lower trend line and we are breaking down under on bear volume, that would not be an entry signal. Next is BA. I'm going to cover after BA. Let's do 1, 2, 3 more. Okay, BA. So remember I said that all these previous 3 wedges, there was a bear break before the actual bull move. Very similar, very high potential that this is still the case with this one. So if we're looking at this now, it could very well be here to, would that make sense? Okay, somewhere here. This one didn't work. Sometimes you just gotta redraw your wedges, especially with BA. It could be looking at something like that. It doesn't mean it's gonna go all the way down. It's just the fact that you have to redraw it. So similar idea to back here. It did have a bear break before the actual move, and now we're having the original wedge that we're tracking. There's a bear break, but the reason why I decided to add yesterday and today, early today, was if you look at this, there's a lower channel here. I might just draw a channel here instead. No, let's keep it this way. I like it this way. All right, so there's a lower channel here. You can see, you know, the breakdown, the big breakdown fake out. It did bounce from that lower trend line. So same with this time, we found bottom within that channel here, and we are seeing buy up again. RSI was oversold, near oversold around 24, and today we saw bullish. What's the opposite of dark cloud cover? Whatever that one is. Yeah, so this one, it's so far just a bounce. We're going to need to see continuation tomorrow, see if there's increased bull volume. Yesterday was a potential of a volume climax signal. Earnings is coming up on July 28th, which is in a week's time. Keep your eyes on BA. We'll be likely keeping the positions, just letting it work itself out. I want to see what this goes through. It is part of the reopening stock as well. We did close near the high of day. BA looking Boeing looking amazing. Next one is MRNA. So we discussed MRNA yesterday or the day before with a lining up of this most recent extension target 2.272 at 333.35 and the 1.618 target 333.87. So 333 is ultimately the target, and we do tend to overshoot it. So this candle makes me think, especially the volume, that there is going to be downside coming in. I was tempted to short it today, but might avoid that for now. It's just not really in the mood of shorting stuff. But if I was actively trading, I mean extremely active trading, because I am active, extremely active trading as in doing like 30, 40 trades a day, I would be shorting MRNA Moderna right now. We did reach that target. huge bear volume showing up, whether this is a volume climax, whether this is just a reversal, everything lines up that showing that there is going to be downside coming. So if we're looking at downside, let's take a look at where we would be looking. So this is that is the whole run. This is the most recent run. This is the Ethereum run. All right, so most recent would line up the most recent trend line. Ethereum, and let's do, okay. Does anything line up with anything? GP lines up with here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Within the week, oh, definitely can happen. So this will be the first target to take profits on short. And then second target, I would anticipate a bounce from here. So let's just take a look at what happens after that. We'll ignore these two for now. This would be the target to take at least half profit. Okay, that's Moderna. And last two, first one being fast. Yesterday was in the buy zone. Not too sure if I think I forgot it on yesterday's video, but yeah, fast was in the buy zone yesterday, where we saw multiple rejections, multiple supports, and then another support from bouncing from the 96 all the way to 112. That was it 20%? 16% bounce, and we were in the buy zone yesterday again, and today was almost a 10% bounce right from today. Seeing a little bit of rejection from the daily 8. Again, still looking at this A, B, C potential pattern. So right now is just a bounce, and the gap is filled now. Ooh, totally forgot about that. Even just a gap fill play. Oh, that would have been amazing. I was looking at it yesterday too. It's like, ooh, buy zone. It's going to be great. But then potential for ABC. So didn't buy it, but we gap filled. Oh my God. Anyways, so you get some, you lose some. TNA was amazing trade. This could have just doubled the profit. No complaints though. Next one, last one is Coin. So one thing very notable on Coin now, have we discussed this ticker? I don't think we've discussed this ticker ever since video review resumed. So part of the reason why I want to bring up Coin again is there is a very notable change in behavior now. Oh, look at that. So the lowest real body, 212.93, close to it. Okay, yeah, so there's notable change now. BTC is breaking bear, but Coin is having bullish action. Very notable. We'll be keeping an eye on this. Today is somewhat of a bullish engulfing. Nothing notable on bull volume. And I want to see whether there's going to be a continuation tomorrow. We did break over this trend line that was keeping us down before and then finding support. So could just be a breakdown fake out. I am interested in Coin. 224. Even with just a slight bounce up to this key zone again where we saw previous support, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 multiple rejections here around that 255 area. That is still going to be an 11% bounce. So keep Coin on watch on your top list if it's something that interests you. It's not directly related to Bitcoin, I would say. It is a brokerage platform. So it's like, you wouldn't consider Robinhood to be trading in the same direction as the banks, would you? Because Robinhood is a brokerage, the banks is a financial institute that trades money in and out. So it's kind of similar situation where Coin is brokerage, Bitcoin is the currency. So they are, my anticipation is that personally, I think they're going to have a connection, but they shouldn't be trading in this exact same direction 100% of the time. If we were to use a comparison, I don't think anyone. whichever one matters. We have seen similar correlations so far up until recently, up until today actually. First notable difference. So you can see drop here, bounced a little bit before another drop. So it's all similar. And then sort of sideways, slowly bleeding, bounced a little bit similar here, and came down and then bounced a little bit similar here, and then slowly bleed. But we do see Bitcoin specifically is a little bit more bearish than coin now, and there is potential trend change, trend separation, connection separation, whatever you want to call it, from coin to Bitcoin. All right, so that's it for today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed the content. Make sure to consider subscribing to the subscribing to the channel if you enjoy the contents that I put out. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.